giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Come on. Good morning. Good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on the Skywalker Morning Show. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom. Good morning. Good morning. Nah, we don't grade the draft. We rate the draft. And today, our very first edition of the 2024 Rating the Draft series, focusing on that guy right there, Tyler Guyton. We're going to do a deep dive, a very deep dive on our first round pick. But before that, we also are starting our undrafted free agent spotlight in the roundup. The list wasn't too long, but the guy we'll talk about today definitely should put some excitement into you guys. This will be a good one. And again, stay tuned for that. Each and every day, we will feature one of the undrafted guys in our undrafted free agent spotlight as we start our Rating the Draft series. Good morning, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
How we doing, man? How we doing? It's already been a fantastic couple days of post-draft coverage in the community. And even with the big wigs, it's an exciting time. I told y'all this is my favorite time because we have the picks and we can go right in on them. And I know we have a lot of new viewers to the channel. Shouts out to you. 25,000 subscribers. It means a lot. I know I don't talk about a subscriber count and things like that because I'm always focused and just moving forward. But I truly do appreciate it. If you know the backstory to this whole thing, you understand how crazy that is to do that in the time frame that we've been here, which is the third channel, I think. But appreciate y'all. So for those that are new, the Rating Draft series, how we do this, I don't personally, let me say this, I don't give A's and B's and all this type of grade stuff for the drafts. Usually you have to wait a couple seasons to start truly doing that. So I like to rate them. I have a star series that I do. I go through 3 different categories and I rate them via stars. So you'll see how that works, and we'll do that with, if not all the draft picks, majority of the draft picks, but damn sure the top ones, starting with Tyler Guyton. All right. Before all that, we will jump into the roundup, and we are going to talk about our UDFA guy. This guy is definitely worthy, in my opinion, of focusing on a little bit here. So let's jump into it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It's time!
Time?
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. Yeah, let me talk to you about Brevin Spanford, tight end out of Minnesota. How this guy go undrafted, man? How this guy go undrafted? Our very first edition of the UDFA Spotlight, tight end Brevin Spanford. When you look at this guy, 6'7", 260 plus pounds, a ton of ass whoop to his game as a blocker. Well-built frame, huge wingspan, giving him the ability to have one of the largest catch radiuses on the team. And this is an athlete, not an RAS athlete, a true multi-sport athlete. He lettered in track in high school as well as playing basketball, 4-year starter on the basketball team. He finished his high school career in basketball as the all-time leading scorer. and second in rebounding. And I think you see that athlete in his game, in his ability to go up and catch the rock, and his leaping ability in the open field. Now, as much as he brings ass whoop to his blocking game, I feel like he has to sustain these blocks a little bit more consistently. He's got to fire out a little more under control. And he did have some focus drop issues in 2023 after performing well in that department the year before. He'll have to clean that up. 9 drops in 2023 is something that he'll have to clean up big time. He didn't even have that many drops combined prior to 2023. Here's what Dane Brugler had to say about him. He said, quote, overall, Span Ford must improve his consistency, especially in the red zone, for him to stay on an NFL field, but he is a smooth athlete with the body flexibility and toughness that translates to the pro game. He will interest NFL teams looking for a promising wide tight end prospect with rotational upside. Hey, Luke Schoonmaker. I like you, John Stephen Jones, no doubt about it. You got some competition. I think right out the gate, Brevin Spann-Ford is a better contested catch guy than Schoonmaker was coming out of college. I think out the gate, he's more of a creator after the catch than your former second-round pick was coming out of college. And they gave him a $245,000 guaranteed deal as an undrafted free agent, which is a lot of money, which I'm not saying it's going to give him a spot on the team automatically, but over years past, the player that's got the most UDFA guaranteed money has usually had a leg up. Last year, Hunter Lipke made the team. So I expect Brevin Spann-Ford to be in that department unless he absolutely tanks in training camp and whatnot. Here's my thing about him. I just wonder if politics, and I always bring this up because you have to with the Cowboys, if Spann-Ford goes out there and he is more impressive than Schoonmaker, do they say, nah, man, we can't afford a second-round pick to be tight end 3? Don't forget about John Stevens Jr., too. I'll tell you this right now, Peyton Hendershot, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, he's got to be kicking himself. Or he's saying, you know what, let me up my game. But Brevin Spann-Ford's upside, I think, is through the roof for this team as a tight end, too. I think he will bring a lot of strength in the run game. Again, I think he'll be able to clean up some things. He has a lot of pancake blocks, but he also can be, like I said, a little bit out of control. But if he cleans that up a little bit, he could be arguably your best blocking tight end. But I don't want to pigeonhole him into that. I love the upside as a pass catcher. I actually love his upside as a pass catcher more than I like Schoonmaker's last year. Yeah. So this competition, and I'm going to say for tight end 2, not for tight end 3, this competition for tight end 2, I think, is going to be intense. They may look at John Stevens Jr. and say, hey, look, man, we're going to go ahead and put you back on IR with the ACL thing if he doesn't quite look himself. And that's fine, right? You got time with the kid. And they'll just roll with Spann-Ford, Ferguson, Schoon, and we'll see what they do with the fourth tight end. Or they'll say, you know what, because look, I'm very high on Spann-Ford, as you can tell. We'll go ahead and put you on the roster, but you won't be a game time guy until you're quite ready. Spann-Ford has the size already, 6'6", 6'7", 260 plus. The blocking department's not an issue. And yeah, he might not be a former wide receiver, but Cowboys Nation, he don't need to be. Why did he go undrafted then? Well, a lot of drops last year. His production tailed off. He was not able to carry the momentum over from 2022. 2022, he led the team in receptions at Minnesota. And then the next year, that was cut in half. The drops went way up. It wasn't the best season. So that probably factored into him going undrafted. But, you know, when you get UDFAs, traits, that is a huge part of it. And he's got a lot of it. 6'7", 260 plus, can block already, can go up, get contested catches. You see him leap, the leaping ability, the strength to carry guys. He he's a very well-rounded, sneaky addition, and I would not be shocked if he made this team. And not just made the team, but at some point, Lunda Wells is going to look in that room and say, hey, Jerry, it's cool if that second-round pick falls down the depth chart, because JSJ, John Stevens Jr., was already a Lunda Wells favorite last year, and he was about to make this team. You heard Stephen Jones. He's about to make this team, and that means Hendershot was off the squad. I'm just saying, man. Let's keep an eye on him. Dallas also targeted another former multi-sport athlete in our guy right here, Tyler Guyton. And he is the feature part of today's show in regards to our Rating the Draft series. And like I said, if you're new here, the way we do this, we have 3 categories. We rate each one of those categories. No grades, but rates. And you guys join in as well. So I'll give you more details as we go. But let's kick this thing off with Tyler Guyton, the very first edition of our 2024 Rating the Draft series.
Hey, Tyler.
Yo, what's up?
Tyler, this is Jerry Jones.
Nice to meet you, Jerry. What's up?
Hey, man, listen, I just wanted to be maybe the first to tell you you are no longer a Sooner, you're a Dallas Cowboy.
Oh, my God.
There you have it. With the 29th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys select offensive tackle Tyler Guyton. Ladies and gentlemen, 6'7", 320 plus, a former TCU transfer to Oklahoma. But not only did they get him at 29, we'll talk about it in a second, they were able to pick up that extra third. Little backstory on Guyton. We talked about the multi-sport athlete thing. His focus in his high school career up until his senior year was basketball. And when you look at his size, right, you see 6'7", 6'8", 320 plus. And in high school, he probably was a little bit lighter than that. But yeah, this is a power forward. And you can kind of see that in his game. He attended TCU, and because he didn't have a whole lot of football tape in high school, it wasn't like there were a whole bunch of colleges clamoring to get him. Eventually, he transferred to Oklahoma in 2022, and during his time at Oklahoma, he only allowed 2 sacks. And this is what Tyler Guyton had to say about the possibility, not even a possibility, about switching to left tackle, because that's exactly what he's going to do. And I remember a few weeks ago, it didn't register to me that he played the right side, but he moved like a left tackle. And Walter Roos played on the left side, but he looked and moved like a right tackle. And then boom, somebody said, oh, Scott, they have a left-handed quarterback. So he was protecting the blind side. And that was one of the things they talked about. So he has the history of protecting a blind side quarterback, but they asked him about switching to the left side. And he said, quote, it's just refining my technique, repetition over and over, working on it so much that you can't get it wrong. It's just switching your footwork, your hands, and your technique. I actually feel like I'm better at left tackle, and I'm more comfortable over there anyway. The switch should be pretty easy. That really made me feel great, because not everybody can make that switch, and it's no big deal. He did go on to say that he was working at left tackle prior to the right tackle switch anyway in college. But if he feels more comfortable over there, that should speed up his growth trajectory just a little bit, right? This is what Will McClay had to say about the selection. When you build an offensive lineman, you look for athleticism, the feet. We have a history of having guys who do things at a high level at the position. There were some traits that definitely showed us that was there. And this guy is an athletic guy, basketball background. He has some defense in his nature. We feel good about him moving to the left side. The way he plays the game, there's a little nasty to him. That was Will McClay on Tyler Guyton. And when you look at the pressers, the post-draft pressers, I like to listen to McClay or McCarthy. I hardly like to listen to Jerry. I definitely don't like to listen to Jerry, and I hardly like to listen to Steven. Now, sometimes you'll get something out of Steven. Jerry will just talk in circles to you. So throughout this process, we're going to quote what Will McClay had to say about each and every one of these draft picks. So let's go ahead and get into our very first rating. By the way, we do this with 5 stars, okay? And we talk about the value of the pick, the year 1 impact, and the long-term outlook. Let's take a look at where I have Tyler Guyton from a value standpoint of the pick. 4 stars. By the way, feel free to play along as well. We'll be reading some of these in the chat. Here's why I got 4 stars, Cowboys Nation. Not just because you potentially have your long-term tackle, or at the very least, you got your future left tackle. I think those are 2 different things. Future meaning, hey, next 4 or 5 years. Long-term meaning next 10. But because you were able to do so while grabbing a premium pick, that is the epitome of a value. You picked up an early 3rd round pick to go along with potentially grabbing your left tackle beyond his rookie deal. You could argue you can go higher on this. You can also take it another step here. If you factor in that the selection of Tyler Guyton keeps your all-pro at left guard, and the dominoes, the way they fell, you probably strengthen, I would argue more than probably, strengthen your interior offensive line by doing so. Well, Scott, how do you strengthen your interior offensive line by taking a left tackle? Well, because those dominoes fell to the point you were able to grab your center. So there's a lot to like with the value for me. I could even bump this to 5 just on a trade down alone in the position value, but I give it 4 stars here. Where would you rank it, Cowboys Nation? The value of the pick, round 1, pick 29, when factoring in the 3rd round pick. Let's see here. Jack the Toxic Cactus. Hey, Toxic, you got a bunch of fans doing this toxic thing, man. 3 stars. C. Burleson, 4 stars. Shouts out to Professor O. Every year he does the half stars with this. I love it. And every year I think about doing half stars, and I never do it. But 3.5 stars could have been something here. 3.5 stars for the player, 4.5 stars for the player plus pick. But you kind of like me. You always throw a little curveball in there. I like it. Let's see here. 3.5 says Corey. The trade down makes it a 4 for me. I think that's what would help bump it up for me. And if you wanted to say, well, screw the trade down, just taking a left tackle in general, sure, you can give it a high rating. But we'll talk about floor and ceiling here in a second. We won with that trade 100%, Gerald. 100%. Uh-oh. Am I buffering? Let's see here. Am I back? Let me scroll down here. Let me know. Let me look at my phone here. Go out and come back in. I feel like I'm straight on my end, but let me go up here. Go out and come back in if you're having trouble with the buffering situation. Not everybody is, but if I'm good. All right, so just go out and come back in. They better not mess with me today. 5 stars by P. 5 if BB is our starting center day 1. Guru 4. Peter Rizzo 4. Blood gives it a 3. So we're pretty. This is around 3.5 to 4 stars here. For those that are, I don't think 3 stars, by the way, is a bad thing. But if you go below 3 stars, then yeah, I think you're looking at it as an issue. Straight now? Perfect. All right. In the meantime, in between time, while we let this thing figure itself out, because I see what you guys are talking about here, let's hit the phone lines real quick and see what Nacho is thinking on this grade. On this rating. Good morning, Nacho. How you feeling?
Hey, my man. How you doing? Blessings. No, absolutely. I'm excited. Sky, I think, you got a 2-for-1. When was the last time that the Dallas Cowboys and Stephen Jones won a trade or anything like that? We're bad in terms of negotiations. We're bad in terms of talking to people on the phone and trying to trade down. We seem to always be on the losing end of things, or
not in the draft,
or
not necessarily in the draft,
what I mean?
but in regular trades, they haven't won. They haven't really had a great they haven't recouped in a trade since like the 90s. But in the draft, they've done this plenty of times. They've actually come away trading down a lot and picking up extra picks. I'll say this. I definitely want Steven and them to swindle guys more often. And it's been a minute. It's been, I think, since I shouldn't say a minute. They picked up a third round from Micah Parsons. So I'm not even going to argue that. They picked up a third round and go down a few spots for Micah. So they did it a few years ago. So this isn't that foreign. What's foreign is them trading away guys and recouping quality picks. So I don't think it's as foreign as you're saying in the draft.
And I guess what I meant more, Sky, was more in terms of specifically, I guess. It just seemed to me that most of the time, you have other teams that are getting sometimes when we trade a little bit more value or getting more of a higher pick than a lesser pick, I guess. But to your point, those two incidents, spots, they did do well. What I liked about this draft, Sky, was that, I think the question will always be, right, at 24, if we sat there, obviously the players that we were coveting were there. So the fact that we decided, okay, you know what, we need more ammunition, we need more picks, let's trade down. They ended up getting potentially two, obviously should be a tackle and a guard center in BB and
they got two starters.
Guyton.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's a win. I think it's a win-win at all levels. I also believe that we did get bigger, stronger. We solidified, that offensive line, hopefully for the next so many years and so on. I understand the frustration in terms of not addressing the running back room. Yet at the same time, though, what we did pick up and we were not really thinking much is the edge rushers and that pass rush, and getting Nealon in the second round, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't see that coming, but yet I guess when you're starting to really look at the research and how the evaluations coming around, it sounded that we ended up taking about maybe up to 4 players that were ranked in the top 100. Which is something that is very intriguing, I thought. So I like the fact that the linebacker room looks a lot better today. The offensive line looks a lot better today. And we got a couple gems along the way, in terms of the corner from Wake Forest that can come in and I think can help along the way. Mentally tougher players, more physical players. That was what seems to be the theme of our draft, so I'm ecstatic.
All right, man. Appreciate the call there, Nacho.
All right, my man. Have a good one.
You as well, man. Let's get back to it here and jump into our next category. And in our next category, we're talking about year 1 impact for Tyler Guyton. I got 3 stars here. 3 stars. It gets 3 stars for me because I do think we will see some growing pains early. Now, you could argue, well, obviously he's going to have an impact because he's going to play. But obviously, I'm talking about the positive, the positive impact here. And here's why I have it at this. Yes, there will be early growing pains. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's 5 stars. But I'm also not going to give it 1. Because I think those growing pains will pay off, maybe in a similar fashion like Tyler Smith, in the sense of Tyler Smith had growing pains year 1 at left tackle. It wasn't as clean for him there, but then by season's end and next year, he kicked inside. But a lot of those things started to get better in regards to the technical aspect of his game. And when you look at the tape, it's really easy to fall in love with Tyler Guyton's athleticism. It's the first thing that McCarthy and McClay rave about. He's got great feet. He's a top tier mover, top tier in his ability to mirror with guys. I think he can snap extremely well. The basketball background is fully on display. He can get to his landmark with ease, and he's fluid in his hips. He's able to seal and reach very well. Now, where he gets in trouble for me is his hands are wildly inconsistent. Even when he wins a lot of his reps, you kind of see him be more grabby and then as a striker. Grabby, then stabby. Low man may win, but low hands do not. Shouts out to my guy, hands down, man down. We don't want hands down. When he plays like that, he leaves that inside shoulder very vulnerable, and rushers are able to attack him unabated to the quarterback or to the running back. Also, the play strength at the second level and sustaining blocks will have to improve to me. I like to see a little bit more thump as well when he's pulling, especially for a guy that's 6'7", 320 plus pounds. I often wonder if the reason why we don't see as much thump, it's not because he's not strong. I mean, he's a huge dude. When he's pulling in a sense like that, he seems unsure of himself. It feels like he's not sure where his target is, and that obviously is going to make his delivery when he arrives not as forceful. When you go watch a Cooper Beebe, the difference in their IQ in the second level is night and day, and that's why Cooper Beebe dirts guys. You know, he dirts guys. Where you see Tyler Guyton maybe dirt a guy or two is his ability to, when he latches and he's able to just straight move you. He's 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", long arms. So I would like to see him get a little bit better as a thumper. With all of that said, man, I think a lot of this can be cleaned up as he goes on, and just being in that room with the Zach Martin and Tyler Smith, even Terrence, because Terrence is a hard worker as well. The player you see right now will be a different player around the playoff push. He should be a more nuanced player. And the player you'll see next year, I think will be massively improved. 100%. No doubt about it. So, hence why I give him a 3 for now. I believe I think I might have gave the same rating to Tyler. Can't remember. But I give it a 3. And obviously, this impact could increase immensely if he's able to speed up his ability to learn the nuances. Shouts out to our guy, James Foster. He's our A to Z scout over on A to Z Films. He did a fantastic breakdown on Tyler Guyton. And let's kind of take a look at it here. A lot of the things that we see on film, he also picked up. His strengths, he has long arms and densely packed frame, graceful mover with elite mirror skills and recoverability, patient with his hands. That's funny because in my notes, I was like, sometimes he's patient, sometimes he's late. Baits pass rushers and doesn't overextend. Has a firm grip, strength when he gets his hands inside, quality play strength and flexibility to absorb power rushes. That's one thing about his play strength to me is more so an issue at the second level, not necessarily for a bull rush. You don't really see too many players just flat out bull rush Tyler Guyton. Can displace defenders in line of scrimmage when he stays centered to the block, speed and explosiveness to excel with any blocking scheme, stays square to the line of scrimmage in his pass set and doesn't open his hips prematurely. As for weaknesses, inconsistent in his set depth forces him into difficult recoveries, delayed reactions to inside movement. That's something we showed there. Inexperienced player with frequent breakdowns in technique. Very few translate reps at Oklahoma's offense. Catches pass rushers instead of striking with force. That's what I mean by he's a lot more grabby than he is stabby. I would like to see that strike cleaned up. And that's something, again, I think working with Duke and these guys in the room, I think that will get cleaned up as the year goes on. Rarely finishes blocks in the run game. That was one of my blinking red lights when it came to his weaknesses. I really would like to see him finish a lot better. I mean, he has the ability to be an outstanding drive blocker with his size and athleticism, but I don't know. It's like mid-block. He's just like, all right, play's over. Upright posture and high pad level limits his drive power, bends waist and falls through down blocks, struggles to secure and sustain second-level blocks, needs to improve target location as a puller, often seems unsure of himself, in his assignment. That's basically what I said as well about when he's a puller, and you see it frequently. I think he's extremely smooth when he's pulling. It's just by the time he arrives at his assignment or his target, it's like, which way do I go? What do I do? And there was a play, I think it was against Oklahoma State, where he has number 4 has no business being able to wall this mammoth of a human being or running through this mammoth of a human being. It's not because Guyton is not strong enough. It's because I think he arrives and he's thinking too much. But a lot of what you see from him as a player that you can argue are the negatives, I think can be coached up. What you can't coach is those feet. You can't coach that movement, the mirror ability, the athleticism. He even, like, from a technical standpoint, I don't think it's bare. I think you see some things. We were talking about this on the draft show. If a coach sees you do it one time, they know you can do it again. And you see Tyler sometimes where it looks great from a technique standpoint. And then you see times where palms are up, hands are low, and hands down, man down, and he gets beat. He gets into the chest, and that's why he can grab you. But those things can be coached. When can they be coached up? To be an upgrade at the position, that'll probably take a little bit. It's hard to upgrade from an all-pro, which is why as a year 1 impact, I do have it as a 3, which is about right in the middle. So Cowboys Nation, year 1 impact for Tyler Guyton. Where do you have it here? Where do you have it? Stars, by the way, stars. Got better throughout the Senior Bowl practices, says Shaq. Shouts out to you, bro. Future is bright, 100%. I think his future is definitely bright. Developmental pressure on coaches is extreme this year. I tell you one position, though. This position. 3 for Tyrone. Roy says playing too tall because you too miss with the hands. Not sure what that means. 3 from Elijah. Solari gonna be in his rocking chair watching Guyton film after Matt. Hey, I do wonder if like I said, Guyton, Thomas, and BB, these are more Solari type of guys. Send him to Duke. So it sounds like that's going to be the case. Somebody had wrote on Twitter, paraphrasing here, "Hey, Duke, has Jerry Jones hit you up about a specific player?" And Duke said, "What's understood doesn't have to be explained." So Guyton will 100% be over there working with Duke. You can bet your bottom dollar. 2 right now, ask after training camp. 4 if he gets Tyler Smith treatment. 4 by Sean. 3.5 by G-Dub. Just for him, 3, but when you add the trade down. So T-Jack, that was the value. We're moved on to the rookie impact. DD says 3. Schoon should be helping frequently. BLS, shouts out to you in the building. 4 stars. Let me say this. The whole Schoon should be helping out. Just talk to me here. Just walk with me on this one. I don't think Guyton's issue is going to be about edge rushers getting a jump on him. Right? I don't think that's going to be his issue. I think so I'm not saying you leave Guyton on an island all the time. He may turn into that player. But I think he has the athleticism, the snap, the movement, the mirror ability. I don't think you need to waste movement on a tight end down in, down out to quote unquote help Tyler Guyton in the passing game. I think he needs to work on one thing at a time. We talked about this on the channel. If he works at his hands and it becomes respectable enough, that takes his year 1 through the roof, in my opinion. Because I think he comes in already with better feet than Tyler Smith. The mirror ability, he can do all of that. He can run with these defensive ends. But it's the hand fighting, it's the technique. It's if he gets matched up with a nuanced guy. Because even with a nuanced guy, if you give tackle help, cool, whatever. Schoolmaker tries to knock me off my block. But a lot of times, unless you absolutely knock this dude down, this defensive end is preparing for that, and they've got maybe a counter ready. And that's something I noticed with Tyler is the counter can get to him. If he doesn't get he got to get those hands up because he leaves that inside shoulder vulnerable, and it doesn't take much. I think you just hit him with a hezzy, a crossover, and get inside. And yes, I think he relies on his athleticism a little bit too much in that sense. And boom, now he's reaching, right? Now this guy has a clear lane to the quarterback. So I do wonder. I do wonder if they're going to keep a tight end over there, or is he going to get that throw him in the fire treatment? And I would balance it out because I do think he has the ability to stay with a lot of these edge rushers, especially the speed guys. It's going to be the nuanced guys early on that may give him trouble. And watch for Tyler Smith. I talked about this on the draft show. They call him the TNT, by the way. Tyler and Tyler. TNT. I kind of like that a lot. Funny thing is, though, there was technically a TNT before that. Tyrant and Tyler, but whatever. Look for Tyler Smith to help him out in the run game when it comes to these dual blocks and these combo blocks because, again, very unsure at the second level. Tyler doesn't need much help. Tyler doesn't need a whole lot of help. So if Tyler can control his guy and say, all right, I need you to peel off and get to the second level a little bit quicker because you got the athleticism to flip your hips and seal a guy or get to the second level. It's a matter of when he gets there, it's very TJ Bass-esque in his rookie season and his tape. Always said, oh, he can get to the second level, no problem. It's just sustaining at the second level. So if they work at that from a run game department, maybe you see more holes open up. You know? Woo, we got some heavy hitters on the horn right here. Before I get to the last one, Tom says, Scott, off the field, what is Guyton like? He more like Tyler or Josh Ball? I don't know what Josh Ball is like, but his mental makeup from everything that I've seen and heard and read is through the roof. This something that I talked about the other day, I don't know if it was privately or not. I said, man, look, if you were like completely out on Tyler Guyton, just go listen to the kid. Maybe because this happened with Tyler Smith. Once people heard Tyler Smith talking, like, oh man, this is a smart guy. This is a hardworking guy. He has an attitude of he wants to be great. That matters to me. Mental makeup matters to me. If you have questions about his on-field ability, which is legitimate in the sense of he's very raw, but not off the field, not mental. His mental makeup is an A+, and that could also help speed up the transition. I have no idea what Josh Ball is like off the field, but if you were to use a guy like Boss Man Fat, then I'd be like, hey, I don't know if football is his focus. Boss Man was that way. It was clear. It wasn't even, I don't know. It really wasn't his main focus. Guyton, this feels like this is his main focus, and he wants to be great. So I love it, and from a mental makeup standpoint. VIP. Good morning, good sir. Uh-oh. VIP. Look, we're going to come back to you, VIP. Let's get to our guy, JR. I ain't talked to you in a minute, man.
God! What's good, baby?
What's happening?
Is it a better day to talk about rating the draft or not?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
Man, and Scott, you're making some great points, baby. You're making some great points. You know, because I mean, if anybody is in here familiar with our great brother and fan of the show A to Z Sports with the Skywalker Skill Boss Lombardi, if you are a fan of him, know him of his work, you will know that he also echoed the same sentiments about the hands placement. And I think that we had the same issue coming in with Tyler Smith. A lot of us were kind of unsure about him, you know, but he was a mauler. He was very physical at the point of attack. And we see, as he has worked with our gurus on the Dallas Cowboys O-line staff, you know what I'm saying, even though I didn't have my personals with Joe Philbin through the season, as far as rookie development, oh, man, they got him there. And now we're loving on Tyler Smith. And I think that the sky is the limit when we talk about a Tyler guy. Oh man, this is good. I'm excited. I'm in the words of another friend, Jesse Holly, football horny. Oh man, I'm feeling good right now. I got an early rise.
Early rise is crazy.
Oh man!
I tell you,
man, this is good.
What gets me excited, Jr. I said this on Twitter to somebody, and I know I'm not saying I'm punting on my fandom for 2024, but the thoughts of 2025 and beyond between Guyton and BB and Tyler Smith, and if Terrence is back to Terrence, the future of this offensive line looks extremely bright. Once you give these young guys and Guyton and BB a year to kind of just work through whatever,
Oh, Scott, when your mom was cooking, you know what I'm saying, and you could smell it while you in the room, you know what I'm saying, playing Madden, thinking you're going to be great, you know what I'm talking about, you smell that good food, and you peek your head in the kitchen like, hey, it ain't done yet. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I'm like,
it's still cooking.
It's smelling good, my mouth watering, but it ain't done yet, you know what I'm saying, but I can't wait to give me a bowl, you know what I'm saying. That's how I'm feeling right now. And then when you think about what he's coming into, Hall of Famer Zach Martin. He has a second, third year guy who has had to do similar transitions in a Tyler Smith. And when you look at them re-signing Zeke, they done brought him back. They done brought Zeke back. We got the 2-1-4 connection. That leader and veteranship that's going to be, if that's a word, veteranship, that's going to be in that offensive huddle, it's only going to better fortify him as a player on the field, in the game, and off the field as far as preparation. Can we ask for a better set? Look, I'm about to call in. I might need a little blue steel moment. You know what I'm saying?
Dang, Tyler Guyton did that for you, huh? Yeah, he's definitely walking into. It might not be as it might not be as good of a room as Tyler Smith walked into, because remember, Tyler had 3 Hall of Famers. I mean, he was blessed. He had Jason Peters, Zach Martin, and Tyron Smith in there. I mean, you couldn't ask to walk into a better room. But Tyler Guyton, it's going to be a whole lot of these Tylers again, all these T's on this line. We got Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Terrence Steele. And we used to have a Tyler at center. It was ridiculous. But he's still walking into a future Hall of Famer in Zach Martin, retired right now, first ballot Hall of Famer. You got Tyler Smith, who just became an all-pro, very smart kid, young guy. So he actually will probably be able to connect with him maybe more than you will with the 35-year-old guy, right? So those two, I think, are going to be very close, working on the same side. He can explain to him some of the difficulties or the nuances of left tackle that he had to go through and grow through. So, yeah, it might not be the same room, but you're still coming into an all-pro and a Hall of Famer that can help you out.
Yes, and man, beautiful. And I think what's going to happen is, and we look at the opposite side about people like, oh, hey, when Tank and Mike get done with him, I think he's going to have to go against some of the best talent for the next 3 or 4 months. So, Kevin Thibodeau, he'll be ready for. They still got Montez Sweat in Washington. He'll be ready for whoever the Eagles are going to roll out. I don't know if they still got a Reddick or whoever they got. He'll be ready because he's going to get top tier talent, and that's why I'm saying the situation that he's coming into. Scott, my mouth water. My mouth water.
All right, cool.
Oh, I'm feeling good. Oh, man.
That's a good point.
That's all I got, baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, hey, if y'all can do Sky a favor to help grow the Skywalker Steel Nation, hit that like, hit that subscribe, because you're here and you could have been anywhere else, but you know the place to be is A to Z, baby. Woo! We take it to the top. Love you, Scott.
Gotta love JR, man. Mr. JR, that energy is something, man. That shouts out to our guy, JR in the building. Yeah, he said something there that I've seen some of you say, that I've seen people on Twitter say, briefly got brought up during the draft show as well. But he needs to grow up fast, but he 100% will grow up fast, not just because he's in that room. Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, these guys are going to be rushing after him. Sam Williams with the strength, right? Like, he's going to get baptized. So when we see some of these clips of him losing, and we talked about, this is me and Vach's thing, hey, when these guys lose the specimens, like a Michael Parsons, you don't panic. But when he wins a rep or two or whatever it's going to be, yeah, that matters, right? So he's going to, if he was in Washington. I don't know who their edges are, but I know Washington got rid of a bunch of their guys, right? Their two best edge rushers. They didn't count edges there. So he's not getting baptized. He's not getting prepped in that sense to go up against some of the best. He's going up against arguably the best pure speed, get after the quarterback rusher, and one of the best technical, savvy, nuanced, well-rounded defense ends in DeMarcus Lawrence. So he's got the best of both worlds here. That will be baptizing him early. So yeah, he's going to lose a lot. We're going to see these videos, and people are going to panic and go crazy. See, for me, once they picked him, and once we, got BB, my mind frame switched completely. I said, you know what? This reminds me of 20. It's kind of combination. 2013-14. Now Zach came in, it was all pro right away, but 2013. If you guys remember, Travis Frederick was we needed Travis Frederick, but he had some growing pains too, right? The year before that, actually, we can go 2012, 2013, really. The year before that, Tyron Smith switched from right to left, so there was some getting used to. But by the time they got to that next year of working together, more than 1 year together, it was, here we go. That Dallas Cowboys offense, like what my man said yesterday, the Wall of China, right? The Great Wall of Dallas was built. 2014 is when it happened. Now they added an extra guy, but you get the point, right? Like when they worked together the first year, yeah, there was some growing pains they had to go through. By that second year, man, you saw a great wall in Dallas. And I often bring up Patty, right? Pat Mahomes. You saw the Chiefs 2020 or 2020. Yeah, 2020. Went to the Super Bowl, said never again. Never again will I allow Patrick Mahomes to play behind that line. Never again will I allow whatever type of rushing attack we have play behind that line. Dallas is not trying to allow that with Dak Prescott in 2024. I think they'll extend him if they don't, whoever the next quarterback is. And I think that's smart business. That's good business. Let's get back into it. We got one more to go for our star rating series, and it is our long-term outlook, ladies and gentlemen. We got 4 stars here. Very high upside. That is the buzzword surrounding Tyler Guyton throughout this entire process. Even before he was drafted to the Cowboys. High ceiling, right? Upside. It's the very first thing after athletic ability that McCarthy and McClay talk about. So when you combine the upside, the ceiling, with what seems like a very sharp mental makeup, I told you that matters to me. Also, and this could be a cheat code here, the fact he's a first round pick alone. Y'all know what those first round picks do for the Cowboys offensive line wise. They don't miss. They do not. I mean, if you wanted to completely ignore the player and just go off of the history, you could say, man, this is 6 stars. But Cowboys success rate aside, just looking at Guyton, the player, his long-term outlook, I don't think that was ever in question, right? Like, I don't think people said, man, Guyton, by the time he, gets in his prime, or by the time he hits 2, 3, 4 years in the league, he's going to be a burnout or a bum out. That never really was a question. It was about floor versus ceiling for Tyler Guyton. The floor, you could argue there are a handful of tackles that have a higher floor. I could argue there are not more than a handful of tackles that have a higher ceiling. And the Cowboys are a huge, huge ceiling team. So I got 4 stars here for his long-term outlook. Cowboys Nation, where are you guys standing at with Tyler Guyton? And again, let's remember, somebody said, why since 89? Well, that's because that's when Jerry Jones bought the team, right? And for whatever reason, he didn't draft an offensive lineman in the first round until Tyron Smith, and I think that coincided with Jason Garrett. One of the things I always give Jason Garrett credit for, he was able to persuade Jerry to finally invest in the offensive line. Well, Sky, what do you mean? the Great Wall in the 90s. A lot of that was given already. And a lot of that was draft picks in the not later rounds, but outside of the first round. They really never made huge investments into the offensive line until Jason Garrett got here. And they took 3. Bang, bang, bang. Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin. Boom. All pros, Hall of Famers. Well, Travis would have been if he didn't retire. And then boom, 2022, Tyler Smith. All pro. This alone, I give his long-term outlook 10 stars. But you can't do that, right? You have to look at the player, and I still think the player's ceiling, his upside, his long-term outlook, be it here in Dallas or elsewhere, I think it's really high. So I got 4 stars here for him. 4 stars, says confident Cowboys fan. 4 on the upside. Future All-Pro, make first All-Rookie team. That's possibility. I mean, that's tough, though, man, Joe. That's a lot. I think there's a lot of tackles with a better floor than him right now that got drafted. If he does, I think it'll be team success, Cowboys star, that whole thing. But the AP doesn't take that into account too often. But, man, Fuaga, I think these guys, depending what they do with Troy Fats, I think all of them have a much higher floor. And maybe that team's success may not be as great, so they'll get knocked down. But I'd be shocked if he's better than a Fuaga and a Troy Fatanu in year 1. Moving forward, though, I think his upside looks pretty good. 5 stars. My bro Lee says his size and movement won me over. Yet what won me over was very similar to Tyler. It was the mental makeup. That's the one thing we just don't know. Unless you go down there and you're speaking to these guys or whatnot. The athleticism, all that's there. The ability to move is there. Very raw in the technical aspect. Very inexperienced. Only 15 starts in his high college career. So there's going to be, like I said, growing pains. But do you have the want to? Do you want to be great? Because if you want to be great, you're going to work your ass off to do so. In those second round, and I'm using guys like Hill and who was it, Randy, Boss, man. Like these guys, they ain't want it like that. And that's affected me ever since. I always say about Jason Garrett, right kind of guy is not just choir boy. But the one part of right kind of guy is, do you love the game? I would never take that for granted ever again. Do you love the game of football? Because I'll be able to tell. Let's see here. I love the pick. I love the pick 60. I'm not sure what that means, Rizzo. But yeah, he's 3 stars. Cowboys first round offensive lineman. Tradecraft, 4 stars. 3.5 here. I'll say this. Overall, when you look at Tyler Guyton, it's not like a lot of you, I didn't see any like 1 or 2 stars. I think there's legitimate positive reinforcement from you guys in regards to Tyler Guyton. I'd imagine a lot of that is due to his future, but I love that. I love that from Cowboys Nation. You guys aren't just dirting the kid in his future. I do think there was something there to like. So there was a lot of, I didn't see many 2 or 1 stars. A lot of 3, 3.5 is about the low as it went. But Tyler Guyton, consensus wise, just by looking, it looks like it's a whole lot of, I would probably put it in the 3.5 star range overall. I think there will be ability for that to be higher than that, in my opinion. But for me, I got 4 stars for his long-term outlook, 3 stars for his rookie impact, and then 4 stars for the value. I included the trade down. Could argue that could be 5 as well. So there it is. Tyler Guyton, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try to get VIP back on the horn. VIP, you there? VIP must got me on mute, man. Are you working? All right. Let's talk to our rating brother real quick. What's good, man? How you doing, Mr. Ron?
How you doing? Good morning to you and your family. God bless you and your family.
Thank you,
and
sir.
God bless your show. I'm going to piggyback off what you said. Me personally, I love his footwork. I think he's very athletic for a man so big. I think, like you said, if he just that striking ability, which I know that'll come with the coach that we got, because remember, he showed a lot of good linemen.
Yeah.
I think once he gets that aspect together in his game, he's going to be good, because I was watching some of his film, and he did a couple blocks that for a big man his size, he can move. Like he did this one block where he got off this one block and went all the way back and made another block that a lot of men his size would have quit off the first block. He don't seem to quit. He just, like you said, I think he got to get better with the striking and keeping up his hands up, because he keep his hands low. But once he gets that aspect to his game, I think he'll be all right. And remember, he's going to be going against Parson and all those good guys.
Yeah.
He'll be ready. You know what I'm saying? I think he will be.
A great breakdown, Mr. Rodney.
Okay, well, you have a blessed one. You know what I'm saying? You and your family, and keep up the good work like always.
Thank you, brother. Let's get to 412. We back in Pittsburgh, back-to-back days. What's good, 412?
What's going on, Scott? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good, man. I think when you look down the road on Guyton, I really struggled with it at first, and honestly, like, I didn't want it at 24, and I knew that he was in play, but when you and it was because I wanted somebody that can contribute today, somebody that can come in. We needed help. We lost Tyron. We lost. So that was like my first impression of it all. And I guess when I look at it, it's like, all right, hey, when we go back, can you sit here and say, and I know it's two different positions, but Barton and him, like, can you sit there and say, hey, did we, even though we moved back, we got the BB pick, but when you contribute this year, we're looking at this season and how he's going to end up unfolding. Does it play a factor in it at all for you? Like how one
basically
performs to the other?
Well, you can't just, so because they got BB and he's playing center, it's technically Tyler, Guyton, and BB, and then Barton. Because if you're just going Barton and Guyton, the floor is way higher on Barton. I think it is way higher. Barton right now is a very refined player. But they got a guy that has a high floor in BB, and we'll get to him probably next week in our breakdown. But he has a high floor, and he's playing a position they probably would have drafted Barton for anyway. So, I mean, look, if you're looking at it in a vacuum between the two players, I think Barton would have been a guy that could come in more of a right now player. And I'm with you. I initially, my whole mindset going into this whole offseason was I wanted to get better for 2024. But as the offseason kept playing out, but the confident, when I say get better, y'all, what I mean is I wanted them to add players, not bargain bin guys in free agency. I wanted them to go into the draft and get me high floor guys to help right now, because McCarthy may not be here next year. The defense core may not be here next year, right? So I was going into it with that mentality. As the offseason played out, I'm like, it's probably not going to be the case here. So at least give me some guys that I can enjoy watching in year one that has the upside moving forward. And that's, Guyton's a guy that, he may not be the high floor guy, but I think moving forward, his upside is up there with some of the top tackles if he can get some of these other things right. So when I look at Guyton and BB, I personally think I'll take Guyton and BB at center over Barton at 24.
Likewise. And at first, before the BB thing came through, and like you said, we'll talk about that in a couple of days, but at the end of the day, like, I really just, if somebody said, hey, these two compared to just Barton by himself, I'm going to take Guyton and BB all day long. I agree with you on that completely. And then even when I look down the line, though, like, do you truly believe that, like, somebody like Guyton can turn into, do you see an upside such as high as like a Tyron Smith, like, or do we have a next 10 to 12? I believe he can be with time. Obviously, like you said, with growing pains, but I mean, a lot of, you've covered so much and done so well with it, buddy. Like, honestly, it's like you kind of hit it so nice, it's kind of even hard to touch on. But like we said, with Parsons and everybody, and what he's going to have at practice coming at him on a daily, Sam Williams, everybody, that he's got to get better. And with the athletic ability and everything else, man, I think come week 10, 11, the playoff push, whatever the case may be, I think we got a star, man. I do, and I truly believe that. So I give it a 4 myself, if not a 5.
Do I look at it as Tyler or Tyron? You say Tyler or Tyron? Which one did you say?
I was talking about Tyron, just left tackle in general. Can he be exact type of level.
So,
Which I know I'm talking about a Hall of Famer.
I was just about
so.
to say I would never look at a rookie and put Hall of Fame Hall of Fame aspirations on him. But here's what I will do with the Tyron Smith thing. If he can be my long-term tackle, does he have the upside to be my long-term tackle? Absolutely. Does he have the upside of a Hall of Fame? That is can I see him play a season or two before because I didn't say Tyron was a Hall of Famer after 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying? Let me get a couple seasons up in him right quick. But I definitely can see the upside as a long-term guy. Hall of Fame is TBD.
I can agree with that, though. I do, and I guess that's just where I'm at with it. Was like, all right, hey, how good can this kid really be? And because I didn't want to touch him. I was sitting there with my best friend watching the draft, and I said, really, I want anybody outside. Like, even whenever we moved back to 29, and that was one of the 4 names getting thrown around. And I was hoping Barton would fall, but honestly, I didn't want Tyler to move from left guard either. So it was just a mixed bag of emotions, honestly. The whole 24 to 29. It was
a wild ride, right? Because as we moved back, I was all for it. I even did it in our exercise when me and Vosh were doing I said, look, I know Barton's sitting there, but I need another pick, and I'll risk it. And in real life, we risked it, and he did not fall to us. So then we start thinking about the other guys, and they start getting plucked. Jordan Morgan, Darius Robinson. And as that was happening, I looked over to the guys and said, hey, I think we should start breaking down Tyler Guyton. I feel like this is going to be the pick. So we started to break him down a little bit prior to the selection, and when we took him, the sting wasn't as crazy because you kind of talked yourself into it at that point. But it was always going to be about, okay, look, they got their left tackle of the future. What are we doing here with these next 3 picks in the second round? What is going to happen here? And the fact that they were able to rebuild their offensive line with BB, for me, I think it makes, if you thought taking Guyton at that point was an issue, I think it makes it easier to swallow that pill that you were able to get a Cooper BB as well.
1,000%. Because just like you said earlier, like whenever you sit there, it's like Barton or Guyton and BB, and I literally that's exactly what I said. I was like, man, at the end of the day, you pair these two up, we got one of the best true guards, but when you put him at center, he's going to do work. And then with the growth of Guyton, I think that we really, like you said, we solidified our offensive line. It's young, it's talented. Hopefully Terrence Steele comes back to form, and the future's looking bright.
Sure. All right, man. Appreciate the call, good brother. Good stuff.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. I appreciate what you do, and I'll definitely be in touch, my man.
Thank you.
All right,
yeah. Hey, Ron dropped the super in the chat.
Super chat.
Super chat. He said, drop 5 and said, I believe if Jerry doesn't go rogue and trade for trade for Lance with the 4th, they don't trade down. They take Guyton at 24. Then no BB or Nealon. Lucky. Let's unpack that a little bit. So you're saying if we still had our 4th round pick, that means you take Guyton at 24, and then you have what, 87 or whatever it was? I mean, it's possible that BB or Nealon is still there. I mean, Nealon fell, or 56 it was. I'm sorry. So you have 56. Why wouldn't they take Nealon? I just thought about that. I mean, Nealon was taken with your 2nd round pick, so they could still easily go Guyton and Nealon, right? And then in the 3rd round at 87, again, BB was there at 73. 14 more picks. It's possible that I don't think it's out of the equation that BB and Nealon could have been the follow-up picks there. Yeah, not at all, because Nealon was staring at you in 56. So I don't know why they wouldn't go Nealon, especially if he was at the top of their board. I still think they go Nealon, even if they go Guyton. Now 50 or 87 is where it gets tricky. Now you're like, can I fade 14 picks of Cooper BB? That's where I'll maybe agree with you there. But as for Nealon, why wouldn't I? Can Guyton be better than Flo? Hey, man. Flozell to Hotel. I was a fan of Flo. I was a big fan of Flo growing up. Can he be better than Flo? Flo, what was it, like a 5-6 time Pro Bowler? I tell you what, if he's just Flozell Adams, period, Oh, this is a home run, man. If he's better than Flo, now we're talking borderline, right? We're talking borderline putting on a jacket. I would love if he's just Flo in general. Slim gives Guyton a 3.9, so like a 4 B+ pick. Take BB number 2, problem solve. Toxic said, let's not break out the anointing oil just yet. Yeah, I don't Hall of Fame aspirations. I'm not doing that to any of these guys. But long term, they could be a long-term tackle. Tyron was generational, says Cute. Freaking nature at tackle. Yes, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. I do know that Brugler compared their situations. He said their situations he said this is kind of like a poor man's Tyron Smith situation. Tyron Smith, I'm sorry, where Tyron played on the right side, moved to left tackle after his rookie year. Now he's going to go into left tackle immediately, so we ain't got to worry about that. Hosell is crazy. It is, bro. T. Jackie caught that. You weren't supposed to catch that. Aaron said you might have taken BB at 56. That is not how they drafted, though, Aaron. Follow me. They constantly went with the top guy on their board. Constantly. They would have had to jump. Because think about it. If BB was higher than Nealon, they would have just drafted Nealon or BB. That's just that. They clearly took the top guy on their board at their position of need. And from all consensus, not just them, but just around draft world, Marshawn Nealon was a higher ranked player than Cooper Beebe. So they stuck to their board. They got a guy. I know a lot of people are not happy with and we're going to get the Nealon will be, I think, Thursday. A lot of people weren't happy with that pick, but guys, we talked about how end was still a need. Some people say no because they got, Micah and D-Law and Sam. I say outside of Micah and D-Law, there's a lot of question marks. Yeah, we love Sam's upside, but Sam between the ears, can we rely on you week in, week out? Let's hope so, right? Plus, you have no depth behind them. None. Not just, you need a rotation, but you also don't have a guy waiting in the wings to take over for the other guy in D-Law. So I totally get the Nealon pick. Gonna try to call in about our 5th round pick. 5th round. Carson? Absolutely. Paul said, I'm cool with him being Doug Free on the left for the rest of his. So Paul, let's talk about this real quick. I like this. Because what I think you mean is you're cool with him being Doug Free, right tackle Doug Free, but on the left side. Because left side Doug Free, y'all remember left side Doug Free, he was not good. Left side Doug Free was not a good left tackle. They had to move to right tackle. Here's why I'm hoping for way higher aspirations than Doug Free. Doug Free as your 5th best offensive lineman? Let's go. Doug Free as your 1st or 2nd or even 3rd best offensive lineman? That'll be rough. We saw that play out, by the way. And then he became the 5th best guy, no problem. I don't want to live in a world where Tyler Guyton's my 5th best offensive lineman, or in a world where if he's my best offensive lineman, we're like, I don't know. So I don't know. The Doug Free one. Let's go back to Hosell Adams. Y'all remember Doug on the left side, boy? Man, I think about the was it the Vikings game where Doug kind of had a bit of a coming out party, or was it the Vikings game where he got whooped over there? Because I know that we dealt with injuries to Colombo, and that's kind of what got Doug Free going. Yeah. Sean says he'll be better than right tackle Doug Free. I think he will too. He moves a lot better. But look, I'm not going to sit here. I was a fan of that offensive line. I eventually was like, look, I like this Doug Free over here. when he's behind Leary and Travis and Zach and Tyron. When we were rolling out Doug Free left tackle, Kyle Kozier, Bill Nagy, Mackenzie Bernadou. There was another, I think it was a Cincinnati Bengals dude we got. That was rough times, man. Yeah, that game was crazy. Who was on that right side? Was it Doug? Jared Allen went off. So it was Edwards, you said. I can't remember if he was on the left or right, but I know that was kind of his, I don't want to say coming out party, but that was kind of his thrown in the fire, like, oh, you not really built like that party. Line was awful, man. A VIP, Nate Livings. Oh my gosh. This is exactly why I'm happy with taking a even though Guyton wasn't my first choice, a Guyton and a BB dog and Thomas. I am not trying to live through Nate Livings, Bill Nagy, Phil Costa, Kyle Kozier, Mackenzie Bernadou. I ain't trying to live through that again. I ain't gonna disrespect Brian Waters now. Brian Waters, I was happy with that signing. He just was a little long in the tooth, but shoot, man. I think injuries ended up catching up to him, but I like Brian Waters. Speaking of which, yesterday we talked about, who was it? Mike Solari. Mike Solari had the opportunity, I believe, to coach Brian Waters over there. I want to say Willie Roaf was there too. But I went back and looked at the Kansas City days of Mike Solari, and just to make sure my research was adding up from the size standpoint. And yep, even in Kansas City, he had bigger offensive linemen. So I'm gonna put a pin in the Solari stuff. I'm gonna wait. I want to see if these guys can develop a little bit, because I feel like he got his type of players a little bit this year. But I ain't mad at y'all if y'all call him Solari. I love the Nate Thomas pick, man. I'm a huge fan. I think he has the ability to push Bass next year, from just a pure playing standpoint. But I think both of those guys are not far one or the other ahead of each other. I think Bass, obviously, with the IQ and the experience is above him right now. But man, I think Thomas got something to him. Oh, it's Sleepy Solari? My bad. I thought it was Sorry Solari. I thought y'all was going with that. Well, just a dude. Now we're just doing a whole lot, brother. If move Guyton to right tackle next year, then draft another left tackle. That's a lot going on, man. Let's see Cuzzo real quick, right? Terrence Steele, hit a full year removed from his ACL. I showed y'all the film. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I want to mess with it, but I showed y'all the film of the Packers game. It should be inspiring. Terrence Steele looked much better. Actually, we showed you Philly game and we showed you Niners game. He looked night and day in the Packers game. So I'm a little more on the positive side of Terrence Steele than a lot of y'all, which, hey, look, I get it. If he ends up being trash, you can come right back on here, Sky. I told you so, right? That's fine. But I think Terrence, a year removed from ACL, will be much better this year. Much better. Yeah, Oscar. The Hulk Hogan situation. They had a whole show, and I think Phil Costa was on that show, dating Hogan's daughter, which is a whole different thing with Hulk Hogan. If I could find it.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
I agree. Still will bounce back. All right, is that it? Is that what we got for the show today? Let me refresh this super one more time. Check the lines, and we good to go. Is still my second cousin? No. He's still Cuzzo. He Cuzzo. There was times during the season where he couldn't sit at the grown folk table with us. You know, we were all disappointed in Cuzzo. But we know the potential was there. We've seen it. We synced it, right? So I'm very much still high on Terrence Steele. Now he got to go out there and prove me right. Oh, Rob Petty, can we stop with the bad names? I think we're beyond this porous offensive line. We're beyond it. We all know about Chaz Green for sure. He was fourth. He was my fourth cousin the first 4 weeks. Boy, that second game. The first week, it was cool. That second game, boy, the Jets gave Cuzzo mad trouble. His getting put on his ass. But the Jets got a crazy pass rush. San Fran came in. It was like, oh, man, Terrence, you in for a long year, brother. The Philly game came. Oh, duh. Making me look crazy, Terrence. It's all good, though. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. All right. Tomorrow, we are going to remix this thing a little bit. I want to talk winners and losers of this draft. Yeah, I want to talk players currently on this team that won because of the picks. Some of them that lost because of them. Some of them that might be right in that middle. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. So, again, as I said on Monday, with draft season over and back mostly full time here, it's going to be a slow burn. It's going to be a slow burn. I'm not going to throw up all the coverage on you guys in 1 week. We're going to let this thing marinate and thoroughly break down our selections, thoroughly break down the situations. And if you're new here, it'll be a bit of a slow burn. If you've been here for years, shouts out to you. Appreciate your bomb squad. Y'all know how we get down. Y'all know how we get down. All right? Please, if you enjoyed today's show, our first edition of the Raid and Draft series, on your way out, hit that like button. If you got friends or family who are Cowboy fans, share this stuff, man. I often, when I'm out doing whatever, I see a Cowboy fan or strike a conversation or what have you, and ask me what I do. I tell them I cover the boys. And I tell them what I do, and they're like, man, that's cool. And they eventually come to the channel as well. If you guys are out, you have friends or family or just meet people, and they are looking, and you hear them say something like, man, Skip Bayless, Stephen Nace, Shannon Sharp, LaShawn McCoy. Stop him right there. Say, look, if you want to laugh and get rage baited, go ahead. You got it. Stay there. But if you want quality Cowboys content, can I introduce you to a show that's not on national television? Send them here. Let them come make their mind up by seeing how we cover this team. And I think that will lead them to other quality channels as well. But send them here if they're looking for quality Cowboys. If they're looking for TMZ, if they're looking for this ain't. But if you're looking for quality Cowboys content, send them here. Appreciate you, hallelujah. Appreciate you. I'm gonna let it simmer, Lost. I'm gonna let it simmer for sure. With that said, let's go hit this button. Good stuff today. Get out of here.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot, Tex, because it's been an off season. It's been an off season, bro. But we got rookie mini camps coming up. I'm excited for that too. So we'll be talking to some guys down there, bringing on some guys or gals from the show. It'll be good. Lots more to get to. Love you guys. We out here. Peace.